Hey guys, so as airsoft players who use gas blowback rifles, one of the issues that we commonly run into are leaky mags. So I use the Vfc Hk416 A5 GBBR as well as the Vfc Hk416D GBBR. And these magazines are compatible with both of those platforms. Now, sometimes I get to a game and I notice that one or more of my magazines are leaking. If I'm in between games and I don't have time to do a full service on my magazine, which you usually don't, then there are a few things that I would check. The first area that I would check would be these 3 screws. These 3 screws need to be pretty tight because they hold down a rubber seal that prevents the gas from leaking out. The next area that I would check would be the gas valve right over here. What you could do is simply take a flat screwdriver and place it in there and just twist until that is tight. Now do be careful because these are very soft and they can break off. So guys, if I had checked that this valve was tight and I had checked that these 3 screws were tight and my magazine was still leaking, I would either have to run it like that for the day or I would have to put it aside and service it when I got home. So what I'm going to do now is I'm totally going to strip and service this magazine for you to see how VFC GBBR mags work and how I maintain them to keep them working well and not leaking. So the first thing I would do is loosen these 3 screws. Now there is a bit of gas still in here, so we're just going to have to let that come out ever so slowly. Alright guys, so I've taken those 3 screws out and now you lift this cap off and that is the inside of the magazine. And so on this end here, you will see that there is like a rubber gasket and then there is the top. So we will put that aside. So the next thing I'm going to do is change to a flat screwdriver and I'm going to take this valve out of here. Something I want to tell you is that it is possible for this valve tip here to snap off from the thread if you over tighten. If that does happen, this thread over here will get stuck inside of the thread within the magazine. What you can then do is take a star screwdriver like this. You can apply super glue to the tip of the star screwdriver and you can then put it into the magazine there where the thread is sitting. You wait for it to dry and you simply just twist and you can turn that thread out and replace that valve. Alright guys, so the next part that we are going to deal with is the top of the magazine, the plastic piece here where the feeder sits. Okay, so we've got our Allen key. I'm just going to loosen that up a little bit out. Now remember to hold the piece of plastic down because there is a spring in there. Alright, so now there is a spring, so you don't want it to all shoot away. So be very careful. Hold that spring down. Okay, and so these are the different parts that you get. You're going to get the top of the magazine over there. Okay, you're going to get this rubber piece that sits sort of as a gas seal. Okay. You're going to get this feeding tip. Be careful, this thing tends to fly away. Okay. And then inside you are going to get the spring that feeds the BB. Alright, and the little bit that just fell out over here goes on to the mag over here and it sits below this other little clippy. Alright guys, so I'm going to do a total and complete strip down of this magazine so that it could be a guide for you if you do need to do that, but also just to show you the inner workings of a magazine. Alright, I just quickly got my gun light ready just so I can show you inside. But if you look inside there, you will see that there is a star screwdriver there. That screw goes along to a thread which attaches to this gas unit or this valve unit on the top here. A little bit tricky finding that screw, but when you do have it. Okay, so I just unscrewed it totally. And so that is the long screw that comes out of the inside. And then you should be able to remove this piece. Okay, but guys, here you go. This is a totally stripped down VFC Hk416 platform magazine. And from here, you can just go ahead and clean it out. So I just got a little brush here that I use just to get in there and give it a bit of a cleaning. So you can just give that a scrub. Give this top piece a scrub. Okay, you can take this gasket out of the bottom of the magazine. Okay, you can give that a scrub. Just get all the gunk out around the edges. Okay, this little valve unit. Okay, the little gaskets at the bottom. Alright guys, so now that you've cleaned everything, I just want to show you how this little unit works. There is a valve in here and sometimes this bit leaks and give trouble. So you can take a flat and you can just give it a couple loose turns, okay, until you feel it's loose, and you can just pull on it, right? And so you'll see that there is an O-ring over here, but there should be one more O-ring. So you can take a little Allen key and just scoop in there, and yeah, there it is. Out comes that other little O-ring. All right, so now I'm gonna just give this valve a little brush, and I'm going to put the top O-ring on there, and the other O-ring is there, and I'm just going to put a thin layer of oil around those O-rings. Oil everywhere. Okay. So that's looking fine. Okay, so we take that, stick it in there, and tighten it up. Alright, so next we are going to put this unit back in. So you just take this with its little gasket and place the gasket nicely over there. You take the mag where this the feeder goes, and place that just in front like that. Okay, then hold this down, and then what you're going to want to do is take this long screw to get that back in. So that's not easy to get in, so I recommend taking a plier, grabbing the screw with the pliers. Okay, getting it in. Okay, there we are, and just give that a tighten. Doesn't have to be super tight. Alright, that's good. The next thing we are going to do is take this seal and the cover at the bottom and put that back on. So you can take this seal off, and you can turn it around just so that it creates a little bit more of an uneven surface. Okay, then you can take oil and you can just line a thin layer of oil on that. Not too much. Give it a wipe. You can use a paintbrush. I actually have a paintbrush. I should get it. Alright, so then we are going to take the cover and gently slip it in. Take our 3 screws and tighten that up. Alright, just make sure you get a nice even tighten, as an even tighten will create an even seal on the gasket. Alright, so the next thing we're going to work on is this little valve. Okay, so there's an O-ring on the valve there and an O-ring around where you put the gas in. So you can just put a drop of gas there, oil, and give it a wipe, and you can put a drop of gas inside the O-ring. Okay, then take this, drop it in there, get a flat screwdriver, and ever so gently tighten it up. You really don't have to go too tight on this, it's quite soft. Alright, so now we're moving to the trickiest bit, and that is putting the spring in. So we are going to first of all get this little piece here. All right. This is a catch that goes onto the nub that feeds the BBs. So it needs to sit like that. All right. So we are going to line it in there and let it fall down. Okay, and it needs to squeeze. You need to squeeze it ever so gently in between that little valve unit and the casing. The next thing we are going to do is put the spring in. So I like to drop the spring in like that. Okay, then I hold the spring with my thumb, feed it in, squeeze it. Feed it in, squeeze it, push it down, squeeze it, and grab the nub. Okay, then the nub needs to sit that way. The nub needs to sit on the place where this little catch is. So now we're going to squeeze that down. Okay, now hold the nub, and what you need to do is make sure that this part is raised up. Drop the nub in, and that should sit on top of the nub. The next part is this piece here. This is the bolt catch, and you put that on that little protruding piece like that. Now how this is going to act is when the BBs rise to the top and the nub lifts up, it's going to raise this mechanism. This piece is going to lift up, and that is what the bolt catch is going to catch on. That will sit like that. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is take this rubber piece and you're going to slide it in like that. Okay, at this point, you're going to have to hold this with your fingers, okay, and let that sit in nicely like that. Okay, it's just a little bit tricky, but you can hold that down. Okay, make sure everything is sitting well. Right, then you're going to take this piece and put it on top and hold everything in place and just drop it in. Okay, so there you go. This piece should be able to move down. Okay, it does. Now we are going to put a screw in here. All right, and that is it, guys. A serviced gas blowback mag for the Vfc 416 platforms. All right, guys, so this is the moment of truth. Here is my 14-pound Mighty gas. I use 14-pound gas with 0.4 gram BBs. Let's see if we did a good job. Ever so gently slip that over there. 1, 2, 8, 9, 10. Absolutely no leaks, no issues. Everything great. I really hope that helps you guys. I hope it helps you service these pesky GBB mags, helps you solve your gas leak problems for your VFC. Yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, kindly give me a thumbs up and subscribe to I Am Airsoft for more content like this. And if you would like to support my channel, I'll leave a link to my Patreon account in the description below. See you in the next one. Cheers, guys.